Welcome to another podcast. Notice I didn't say Gritty Podcast because I'm not the Gritty Gang no more. The name to be determined. I got a very special guest here today. As you know, we got the champ. The champ is here. The GM of the organization, Mike Malazzi. Give him a standing ovation because he's the champion. Yes, sir. It's great to have you.
It's great to be on.
I've been waiting to have you for weeks, but
yes,
the way I set it up, the podcast schedule, I put who I thought was gonna go far.
Yeah,
and it worked out. It worked out.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I thought this was gonna be Jack sitting here, and that's not just like
No.
I really did think, especially getting toward the end of the season, as we'll probably get into. I didn't think I had a chance, but I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be sitting here right now.
True.
Definitely. So
Yeah, end of the season, it was getting a little scary. We lost Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah.
Stroud came back towards the end.
Well,
Right?
yeah, he came back. So I mean, Stroud came back, but he was hurt. He was knocked out for a little bit there. Luckily, I had the bye. The bye was big.
Yeah.
Because over the bye, I think I put up almost like 90 points.
Oh yeah, the
or
bye
something like
week
that
was
over the bye.
bad.
Now
Yeah,
I
that's huge.
did drop the Dolphins defense. I had picked them up with intentions to play them that week.
Mhm.
Should I not have gotten the bye, and they got like 20-something points.
Yeah.
But I still would have only had like 110.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you deserve the bye. I mean, that's what the bye weeks are
See,
for.
I guess that's what I'm always one to say the bye is a little OP because then you know
It is.
you only need to win 2 games, but
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
I'll take it. I'll take
Yeah,
it.
I guess it's like that in the playoffs too, like in real life. So like,
Yeah, that's true. That's
it is,
true.
right? You only have to win 2 if you get a bye, right?
Yeah, because it used to be 2 teams who got the bye, but now it's like they introduced the 7 seed, so it's just the 1 team. So I guess it's kind of the same idea.
Uh-huh.
But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, as you know, coming on the podcast, you get a little interview.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with that.
I came prepared. I got notes.
Yeah, he got a whole sheet.
I got everything written out
It's
here.
crazy.
So.
The analytic sheet.
Absolutely.
That's not going to be on the sheet. The first question, but
Go ahead.
how does it feel being a champion?
Okay.
Has it sunk in?
I don't know. It kind of sunk in when I was getting everyone's Venmo money. Like that was like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, cool, I won.
Did everyone pay you?
Yeah, everyone's good now. It took Norm the longest.
Yeah, I know Norm's hard to track down.
Yeah, everyone, but everyone's good.
Good.
But no, it feels great. I mean, and Chris kind of alluded to this toward the beginning of the season, but it's a little weird to think about. But I have kind of been building up until 2023. Like that was
Chris said that. Yeah.
That was kind of the year to compete. There he is.
Yeah.
B-Rod just walked in.
Strong.
So
Go on the camera. Say hi real quick.
there it is.
No, you didn't get in front of it. Oh, no, it was delayed. I know.
Yeah.
So now I do it twice. Wait, what were you saying?
So I was saying, Chris kind of noted at the beginning of the year, but everything I've done, and you can see it kind of throughout some of the trades I made, even back to 2021, has been kind of building up to this season and competing this year. So to see it kind of play out like that and actually fulfilled is really cool.
It actually, I gotta say, it exceeded expectations.
Yeah,
I got
definitely.
it down right here. Ready?
Go ahead.
So you broke the league scoring record in the
Yep.
season. You broke the single game scoring record.
Mm-hmm.
You tied the record for most wins in the season at 12.
Yep.
And to top it off, you won a ring.
Yes. And
Is this the greatest season of all time in BOB history?
may I add, I am the only team to beat every other team in the league in one season. Certain teams, including B-Rod, Steve, Dom, Mark, and Jack, have not done that ever. I beat all of the big brothers and everyone in my division at least once.
Oh, wow. I didn't do that last year?
No,
No.
Damn.
you lost to Chris.
Oh, yeah, I did not beat Chris. But no, I beat him
Oh,
last
no, sorry, you lost to me.
Oh, yeah, last year I did.
You lost to me, and
Yep.
we only played each other once.
Yep.
So yeah,
Damn,
so that's just another thing to add to that list there.
Yeah.
But yes, those are all impressive, and I mean, maybe I'm biased, but I think it is the greatest season so far,
Yeah,
just based off of the numbers.
it is. I agree. I was just looking at your team and everything you did this year, like writing up the questions. I was just like,
Yeah.
is this the best season? I think it is.
I'll take it.
Did you expect anything like this going into the year? I know you planned for it, but like,
Like this? Probably not like this. I wanted to be competitive, and there were a lot of decisions that went into that. Notably during the draft, trading for win now pieces like Keenan Allen,
yeah.
or staying put at the 102 to take Gibbs, who I knew or at least thought, since this is fantasy football and nobody really knows anything. I will hammer that point till I die, but I knew, or at least I thought, that Gibbs would be a better impact player than JSN or Marv, who the 101 essentially was offered to me.
Mhm.
And I stayed put knowing that, I was tired of losing and I wanted to start winning games. And I knew I'd be competitive. I really hoped I would make the playoffs, especially considering how some of the other teams in the league looked. But I couldn't really predict that this was going to happen. It was kind of great. And honestly, I feel like luck doesn't really fall on my side like that a lot, which is kind of why I use the fantasy chat as group therapy sometimes to explain that. But I apologize, but that's just me, and I'm really happy with the way it went.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone thought Jack was going to win.
Yeah.
Except for, I think, a couple of people voted for you.
I voted for him. I mean,
you voted for Mike? Yeah, you voted for Jack.
I voted for Jack.
Yeah.
Well, because here's the deal. I mean, Diggs just fell off at the end of the year, right? Let's start with that.
He was a problem.
He might as well have been hurt. Then after, you sent that poll after the semifinal game. So Steve's guys probably pissed off that they can't beat me. Never have beaten me. So they decided to just go out and hurt the whole roster during the semifinals week. I lost Hawkinson, went out for the year. Amari Cooper put up 50 some on Steve, 51, and then he didn't play the rest of the way. I lost DJ Moore, hurt his ankle. He got 4 against Steve. He came back and ultimately got 31 in the championship, which was huge. But at the time, I was like, all right.
Yeah.
And even my kicker got hurt. And I feel like on games that my kicker gets hurt, I'm kind of just like, all right, I'll throw in the towel. Like, there's nothing I can do.
It was
you know what I mean?
it looked like you were cursed. Basically.
That's what I mean, yeah. And it was like, and I hadn't suffered an injury all year. And then to have that happen in the semifinals, it was like, all right, I made it here, but now what? You know what I mean? Jack has a hospital for a running back room, and they all stayed healthy. And I don't know, it was just, it looked to be that way, and I guess, I don't know, it just worked.
Yeah. How long is Hawk out for? Now, you said he got hurt. I never remember.
Well,
Wait. What was the injury? I forget.
ACL and MCL. So he'll be out a while.
He's gonna be out.
I'd imagine he'll be not very relevant in fantasy next year.
He got hurt though.
Yeah, right. So I'll plug him in there, but it's kind of like one of those things where it's like a worthy sacrifice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, I won't have him next year, but he was the tight end. He finished as the tight end 4 this year.
Yeah, he did his job this year, even without Kirk.
Well, he was the tight end 1 for essentially the entire season until the injury. And I guess tight end points were just so close that once he got hurt,
then Laporta passed him.
Yeah, but he definitely did his job, and I will miss him next year, but I assume he probably will not do much at anything at all next year.
Hey, he might come up clutch for the fantasy playoffs though again.
We'll see. We'll see. That's what I mean. I hope Ferg can take the next step. I was big on Ferg last offseason. I always seem to find one guy that I'm every offseason that I'm like, all right, I'm huge on him. We'll see. Good. Yeah, he does. So.
I don't think that'll be a problem because you got Ferg. Let's see. What was the next question? Do you think anyone will ever have a better record than 12-2?
Yeah.
I think
it can happen.
I think it's so hard.
It's tough.
It's tough. Last year, I felt like I didn't even lose a game. And I did go 12-2. It's just so hard to win every single week. That's that. Your team's got to be way better than everyone else's.
It is, and it's honestly, I think it's more of a depth thing. If you have the proper depth, if you have guys that you can plug in no matter the week, because once bye weeks and injuries start to pile up, there's not much you can do.
No.
You know what I mean? And you can have a great team and still just get screwed one week.
Yeah.
But I think someone can do it. I can see an undefeated season happening at some point down the line. I mean, this is Dynasty. You know what I mean? You make a few good trades. You stack a lot of young talent, and all of a sudden you can have
the best teams.
Exactly. Yeah. So I can see it for sure.
By the way, guys, Mike did not buy this Stroud jersey.
Yes.
It's actually mine. I just put it on him for the podcast.
Correct. This is.
If you come on my podcast and I have a player's jersey that you have on your team, I will let you wear it. Just saying. But you cannot keep it. Speaking of that, though.
Yes.
Whose jersey are you going to pick? Have you decided yet?
I have. And I'm glad you bring it up. So, going back to when we first implemented the jersey thing, and I hated it, as I do all new rule changes. Once I eventually got used to it, I kind of decided that the jersey of the player I get would be the player that helped me the most throughout the season, not just my favorite player. You know what I mean? Because you can like a guy, but if he screws you, then or just doesn't do as as well or whatever.
That's why I traded Jefferson.
It doesn't matter. Well, we'll get into that. I have some questions for you later. Actually, we'll get into it.
Cool.
So at the beginning of the year, I was like, hey, if everything goes right and I win this year, I would love a Bijan jersey. And Bijan, I mean, I'll check my notes here, finished as the RB9, averaged 14.5 points per game. It's not bad.
No, I think it's crazy he did that with the amount of volume he
Yeah,
was getting,
right.
how he was getting used.
That's, I mean, he was, what, I think he was about 24 yards away from a 1,000-yard rushing season.
Yeah,
and
like,
easily over 1,000 scrimmage.
He was so underused, too.
Right, I agree. So, I mean, he was my guy, and I would love a Bijan jersey, but I'm not getting a Bijan jersey. Ultimately, it came down to 2 people. And, spoiler alert, I am not getting a James Conner jersey. However, I have chosen to honor his performance. I would say he's not the best player on the field, but he's definitely a locker room guy. He was called upon when we needed him. Stop me if you've heard this before, but I would say he's probably the heart and soul of the organization. So because of that, I have went out of my way. I apologize for taking off the Stroud jersey to send a portion of league winnings on this shirt right here. Hand pressed by Chris Hardock at CBS.
Oh my God!
It has the catch. Pretty much the moment I knew I solidified.
I gotta take a better look at. I might be able to see it.
Pretty much the moment I knew I locked up the championship right here.
Perfect.
With B.O.B. Super Bowl III champion 2023.
That's great. I love it.
So, yes, is this extra? Yes, but this will be worn at all B.O.B. League functions, including the draft,
awesome.
Where I will be receiving not a James Conner jersey, but a navy blue Dallas Cowboys CeeDee Lamb jersey. And it's definitely he's probably not only the guy that helped me the most this year, finished wide receiver 1, averaged a crazy 23.7 points per game. He's
awesome.
Also probably my favorite player in the league as of right now. Wow. I mean, just watching him, going back playing fantasy so many years, I've had so many Cowboys. I was a Des Bryant guy back in the day. I started our startup draft with the Dak and Zeke stack. So just the Cowboys have been a part of my fantasy career. And
you are the Cowboys of our league. However, I kind of think that sometimes your team just has a Cowboys aura to them, but you won a ring, so you're not the Cowboys.
Okay. Well, okay.
I think Dom is also kind of Cowboys.
I think that was the original comp we had for him, right?
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, no. So very excited for that.
That's cool. I like it. I mean, yeah, very well deserved. The CD jersey. Yeah, it was incredible this year.
Right, I agree. And I know all my Giants fans will enjoy their money going toward a Dallas Cowboys jersey. So
yeah, sucks.
That'll be exciting to receive at the draft. While also wearing this, because this will be worn under the jersey at all times. Mm-hmm. So James Conner, the heart and soul, will never be forgotten.
Fire. Who do you think is your MVP this season? I know it's probably, is it CD? That was just my follow-up question.
Right. Yeah, I would say it's gotta be.
I think actually Stroud is actually very close though.
There we go.
Just because if you had Justin Fields, I don't think you win as many games.
I agree.
Right?
I agree. I mean, especially the Stroud's most notable game, his 50-point performance against Alex.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
That was crazy. And it's one of those things that again, I was confident in Stroud. I thought he would be good. Mm-hmm. I didn't expect him to be that good. Everything kind of just exceeded expectations this year. You know what I mean? So I agree that kind of finding that quarterback that I have been looking for since I drafted Dak 2 years ago, and he wasn't really what I expected. I've been looking for a quarterback for a while, and Fields was great.
Of course, when you trade him away, he has the best season
of
his career.
I didn't even trade him. I dropped him.
Oh,
I dropped him.
It was a
drop. But I wrote it all down here. He finishes the quarterback 2. If we're going to talk about this, he finishes the quarterback 2, averaging 24.4 points per game. I dropped him after week 5. In those 5 weeks, he averaged 13.8 points per game.
Damn.
While Stroud was averaging 20.5 and Fields was averaging 24.5.
Oh yeah, Fields is going off. Yeah.
So, and that week 5 was the week that he threw 3 touchdowns to DJ Moore, and they both put up 45 points.
Yeah.
So, looking at my roster after that week, it just made sense, right? But I mean, it really came back to bite me there, and that probably my worst drop. If we're gonna go back to one of the old GM questions from a few weeks ago. Probably my worst drop would be Dak, which honestly, considering I have 2 other good quarterbacks, isn't the end of the world.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad.
You know what I mean? But I can't think
of
of anyone else.
guy in Stroud.
Exactly, and a nice backup in Fields. I don't know where he'll go. I hope he stays in Chicago, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm cool with my quarterback room.
Fields was also a waiver wire pickup. So
yes, that's also true. From my team. From your guys, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right. You stuck with Trey Lance over him, I believe, right? The 2-time Super Bowl champ Trey Lance, that is.
Yeah, I did. Hey, he's got 2 rings, man. He knows how to win.
I should have picked him up. I told Chris if he would have updated the stat sheet before that, I definitely would have picked him up before the championship, just to try to get him the other ring. But.
Yeah, 100%. It's hilarious. Let's see. We kind of touched on it before, like your draft this past year, but I just wrote it down. So at the draft, well, I think the draft contributed tremendously to you winning a ring this year. Like you completely won the draft last year by a lot. You got Stroud, Bijan, Gibbs, and Keenan Allen that day.
Yes.
Other than Bijan and Gibbs, did you plan to make moves for Stroud and Keenan Allen that day? Or were they just like on spot?
So both are different. So Keenan Allen was funny the entire offseason. He was one of those guys that Mark had his headshot saved in his phone and he would just send them to everybody every day. You know what I mean? Like a Kareem Hunt or like a Brandon Cooks. And he would send everybody Keenan Allen. And nobody was biting. I remember actually I was home on break at some point and Mark was trying to sell Dom Keenan Allen. And Dom laughed at him for wanting like a late first or something like that. And looking back on it now, it's crazy. Like you know what I mean? Like Keenan Allen was the wide receiver 1 for what, 2.5 months, something like that.
I'm so mad. Alex offered me. I think what was my pick? Like the 2. He wanted the 210 from me for Keenan Allen, and I told him no.
Well, you got Tua instead, right? With that 210.
Yeah, I got Tua instead. Like
could be your guy.
I guess I wouldn't have had a QB this year if I didn't.
Right, but no. So Mark was trying to sell him, and eventually he just used him as a throwing piece to Alex for whatever they did. I think it was like the some draft pick trade or something like that. And he was sitting on Alex's roster in the spreadsheet forever, and nobody was budging. So come draft time, of the NFL draft, not our draft, the actual NFL draft in April, I texted Alex and I was like, hey, if everything else holds, I don't want to do this yet because I want to wait until the draft for a couple of reasons. I want to be the first person to ever make an on-the-clock trade. I figured that would happen, although Chris got other ideas.
Chris beat everyone to it.
And I said I want to do that. And I also, if you're interested, would give you the 209, the pick I got from Dom in that ridiculous Jeremy McNichols trade a few years back.
Jeez.
I said I'll give you that pick for Keenan Allen. And I thought he would hate it because I figured I was lowballing him, honestly. But he loved it. And he wanted to do it then, and I was like, I want to wait. I said I want to wait not only until our actual draft, but also until I'm on the clock with that pick, just to see who's there. And we get to the draft, and he texts me a couple picks before. He's like, "Are we still going to do this?" While we're sitting outside, and I'm looking at the board, and the one thing I came into that draft knowing was that I wanted to draft a quarterback.
Yeah. It
didn't really matter to me which one. But I wanted to draft a quarterback because I was confident in Fields, like I said before, but I was, just in case everybody was right about him and he really didn't pan out, I needed a backup. And Dak hadn't been that guy for the last 2 years, you know what I mean? So I get to the board and the 209's there and all the quarterbacks except for Anthony Richardson, so Bryce and Stroud are still available.
Yeah.
And I was very, very close to telling him, no, I don't want to do this, and picking Bryce Young. I would have picked Bryce over Stroud.
Wow.
I would have. And,
that's crazy. That's something
right?
I don't think you ever said that, right?
No, I think I've told Mark maybe before, but I would have picked Bryce over Stroud, just because the 101, and I figured he would pan out eventually. The roster was bad, I knew that.
I still think he'll pan out.
I do too. I think he needs time and help, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I would have taken him, and it took me a while on the clock to think about it, and at the last second I said no, let's do it. Let's just do it. I'll give you the pick and you give me Keenan. And thank God I did it because you know what I mean. Because if I didn't, A would not have had Keenan Allen, and B would have had Bryce instead of Stroud because I wouldn't have taken both of them. Yep. You know what I mean? Crazy.
It's really crazy.
And then it
worked out perfectly.
Well, and then as far as Stroud goes, so then I make that pick and we get into the third round. And I texted Steve and asked him if he because he had your 210 after the Tua trade.
Yeah.
And I texted him and wanted to trade back into the draft after I had just given away the 209 to go back to the 210 to also pick Bryce Young.
Yeah.
And I texted Steve and I was like, hey, what do you want? Like, how can I get him? And he wanted Adam Thielen. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Like, I'll give you Thielen for the 210, whatever. And at the very last second, he pulled out. I think, did he trade the 210? I don't know. Did he? No, he picked Keyshawn Boutte.
Yeah, he
picked Keyshawn Boutte.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, like, I have a guy I want, whatever. So he ended up doing that, and then we get to the third round. He's picked before me. Mark picks Bryce, and I was like, oh, great pick, whatever. That's what I was gonna take. Steve comes up, I text Steve, hey, do you still want Adam Thielen? Like, I there's still a quarterback here. I'll take it, whatever. You know what I mean? Last guy on the board. I'll take whatever quarterback I can get. Do you still want Thielen? Let's do it. And we figured out the NBA style loophole, the draft loophole.
Jesus.
And
I don't know why. I really would have traded up.
I was scared that he was gonna go up there and announce the pick and then just sit back down. Like he would just like get second thoughts once ever because everyone, as soon as he made the pick, everyone started clapping. He's like, "Oh, that's a great pick!" And then he announced the Thielen trade, and everyone was like, "Wait, that's terrible." You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, no, I was happy that went through.
I was so mad about that trade.
So no, that was great, and honestly, it really did help me. So in short, Keenan was playing, Stroud was not.
Okay. Damn. Hey man, it's good analytics.
I try.
This is kind of a basic question.
Go ahead.
It's probably a very easy answer. Stroud, is he definitely your franchise quarterback for the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he, as a rookie, finished quarterback 11, 21.5 points per game. I mean, that's, you know what I mean? That's, you're not going to get that in many other places. You know,
I should QB 11. Oh, it's probably because of the games he missed, right? Does that factor in?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And well, it also all these stats also include week 18, which we don't play. But still, I mean, he did miss a couple games and everything. So QB 11. But he's great, and I'm very excited to see where he goes going forward. Mm-hmm. So definitely stick with Stroud. Yeah. I like Fields too. So I kind of like that 1-2 punch. And I don't really see a point in carrying more than two quarterbacks, especially with our shallower rosters and the fact that we only play one quarterback. I mean, I'm not, Dom's out here playing super flex with like 4 quarterbacks on his bench or whatever.
Now that it's brought up, that was like one of my later questions. But like, it's about super flex.
Okay.
Are you glad we don't play it? Like, I'm glad we don't play it. I don't want to play super flex. I like the format we have.
Has anyone proposed that? Has that been like
I don't think so, right?
Has that been a thing? I don't know. Probably Dom somewhere down the line.
Guy?
I don't think so. I think we kind of rolled that out from the start.
Yeah. Okay. Because I agree. I don't like Superflex as much. I don't really know why. I don't like any new rule changes though. Like we know that. I'll be voting against Fab this year. I'll be voting against probably whatever else you guys suggest.
Did you not like the adding a receiver, or were you cool with that? I feel like that definitely made sense.
I think that made sense at the time. I probably fought against it a little bit just because I always do that. But like, I think that made sense at the time, just because we wanted to get more guys into our roster.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm happy we don't play Superflex. I really wouldn't want to. I think it.
Me either.
Well, while 6-point passing touchdowns gives the quarterback the correct value, I think Superflex overvalues quarterbacks.
100%. Like, and you see like Caleb Williams, like in dynasty drafts and Superflex, he's gonna get taken 1 probably.
Yeah, easily.
And like.
Easily, Drake May.
I feel like that's not the right thing in fantasy.
Well, Bryce Young and Stroud were 1 and 2 last year,
Richardson too. They were.
Some people took Bijan first because it's Bijan, but like it was like, do you want Bryce Young or Bijan? Like, and Bryce Young didn't go until the 3rd round in our draft, so like.
Right.
Which I think we don't value them as highly as some leagues, but like still.
Probably. But
quarterbacks, I think there's gonna be. I want to say 3 quarterbacks taken within 1st and 2nd round this year.
Really? So? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Because I think Dom.
Alex is taking one.
Penix is Dom's guy. I can see Dom reaching for Penix.